Okay, guys, looks like we can start. So Valery will start.
Hello, guys. On previous demo, Belinda and Philippe presented API of SalesChannels mapping, and on this week we have finished UI part of this web API. In our precondition, I have created website. One more website, and now we go to stock form, manage stocks, open. First of all, we expand our grid. We create own UI component, and this component represents websites which are assigned on these stocks. And it is a general solution. It is related not only to website, but for all sales channels. If somebody provides own sales channels, our UI component will work properly. And for example, also we integrate our API in our form. For example, we would like to create some stock in Europe, and now we have possibility to assign this stock to some websites. Oops. Looks like I have some mistake maybe. Because I continue to debug another issues, and maybe I have some problem with my local branch. Okay, I don't know, something went wrong, but in develop branch, the functionality are completed and already merged.
We can demonstrate another feature currently, and you will switch to develop, and after that you can try to present.
Looks like it is problem with new websites because already I tried to change already existed, and you can see that we have updated with our website. For example, assign 2 websites, unassign. So I will start investigate which is problem with new website. Check grid. And we have assigned only one website. Also, I would like to notice that we have a few PRs related to sales channels with some validation rules. For example, we could not delete stock. We could not delete stock which assigned to some websites. Also, we could not delete default stock, and I believe we will finish this task next week and demonstrate these validation rules on next demo. I think that's all from me.
Okay, Unai, you can start sharing your screen and present the functionality of the downloading sample link.
Okay, I will do it. Okay, can you see the Chrome here now?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, recently we discovered that there was not possible to set a sample file for custom modules out of the core of Magento, and we decided to extend the functionality so we can create a new import entity and set a sample file where you can download it via this link in the backend. So we decided to, I will change the screen to the PHP Storm. Yeah. Okay, so we decided to import-export module. We created a model called a sample file provider, where we get after that we go to the controller. Is here download. This is the download controller that gets the sample file. Previously, it was hard-coded the file path in the import-export module, but now we have managed to make it configurable via the DI. So doing simply that, like having a sample file provider, we can add as arguments the entity of the import and the module where the import file resides. Then I will give you an example of how to create a new import sample file. For example, in Igor's import-export inventory module, I can find it in here. He created this, or the MSI project created this inventory import-export module. Then in here in the DI, we just define this snippet with the sample file provider. Here we define the stock sources, and here the module where the import-export sample file is. Then we copy the stock sources file to this path, file sample stock sources. This is the sample file. And then it's possible to download the sample file from the back. In here, this appears here, and you just click in download sample file, and you get the sample file. I don't know if you have any questions.
No, I don't have any questions. That looks very good.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to add that we are going to deliver a part of this pull request to the Magento core code as well. Actually, the part which introduces extension point of the provider, because, for example, it solves also the problem which Unai had before that with his own module with category import export. And now, because there was not possible to add this download link at all, and now adding this additional extension point, it's pretty easily to add a sample link for any kind of newly created entity and export.
And it will allow to change the location of the file with XML configuration for all of the input types. Okay.
Valerie, do you have anything else to demo?
I have a few updates about guys who are missed, who are absent today. Bartek continue working about integration, and I think he on next demo he will have something to demonstrate for us. Also, Yaroslav Rogoza picked up one pull request from tech division, and looks like anybody don't have any restrictions, so he will continue work on this.
Yeah, so one more update regarding the integration. Let me share my screen.
Igor. Hi. Valerie, Harald is not today in the office. at this week he joined some conference outside of Tech Division, but he is on Monday in the office back. I will ask him about his ticket. He will have time next week or the week after this, and maybe it's good to ask him before somebody else take a ticket from him.
Look, it will be two separate pull requests. First pull request from Tech Division with some base concept, and we also provide one more pull request with some updates. So it is two different pull requests.
Sorry?
If you mean that Yaroslav Rokoza picked up pull request from Tech Division, I would like to say that Tech Division will have one own pull request and will be measured and will be counted. But Yaroslav Rokoza will create separate pull requests.
Okay, yeah, it's not about accounting. I mean, Harald has maybe some time to finish his task, and he already invests time in this task, and yeah, it's only a bird.
Okay, guys, let me share the update regarding the integration we have now. So I will share my screen. So, like, actually, we have two kinds of integration for the update, as we described on a previous meeting. So actually, we have two different situations, because before that, we have so-called in Magento 1 LSD process, like load, save, and delete, and we had the only business operation of the stock update when we loaded the stock item, and after that the new value for the quantity. And actually, before MSI project, we did not differentiate actually the set of the new value and the deduction of the stock, for example, which happened during the checkout, when we need to deduct some amount out of the existing value. And actually, that's what we are introducing in the scope of the MSI. And currently, we have two separate stories. The first one is currently beyond work by Bartek, where we supposed to update the behavior, where we supposed to update the old stock item data when we set the new data for the stock item. Actually, this could happen, for example, if admin goes to the admin panel and just specifies the new value for the stock items, or that could happen during the synchronization process with the ERP system. Another part, which also could happen when we place a reservation, and we've implemented this kind of integration during the contribution weekend, which took place in Madrid previous weekend. And in this scope of this integration, we provided an update during the reservation which happened. So we actually covered the business case when we have a stock deduction. And for the stock deduction, we have a dedicated entity currently which is responsible for the stock deduction, which name is the reservation. So for any checkout, for any order placed, we will create a reservation, and this reservation supposed to update the value of the stock item. So like we have this two business scenario: update data and the set stock data, and in the scope of this pull request, we've pluginized the place in the reservation and updated the old data for the stock item and the stock status, and of course covered that the changes in a integrational test. So I believe at the next demo, which will happen in a week, we will show you in a UI how all that happened, and like that updating of their data lead to the update the old quantities of the stock item. So we're going to merge all that 3 pull requests we have regarding the integration. So we will show you up the how it's already happened on a front end. And currently we have I have one more question regarding our backlog. So in our backlog currently we have this story. So that's a question to Mark. We have import-export of products aware about sources. And actually we got this story as a heritage from the MNI project we had in Magento 2 core. And there was internal ticket Magento 49-171, where we actually described that we should to extend the existing format file for the product import-export and add the awareness of the different sources where this product is stored. So we supposed to add the add additional cell like sources and like specifying using the pipe separator the sources and the quantity where this product is located. And actually that was the idea, and that the same is actually for is in stock. And actually I moved this story to our MSI backlog as well. So currently it's accessible here. But the question I have now actually whether we need to have this functionality at all, because we already have a dedicated import-export functionality for the source items, which provide us possibility to import and export source data on all the available sources. So whether we need to duplicate this information and add it to the products data as well. Because, for example, for some merchants who has independent integration, for example, with the PIM system, where the PIM system is the source of truth for the product attributes and provide the data for the products, what attribute it has, what images assigned to that product. Actually, this could be one independent integration scenario, and another scenario could be an integration with the ERP system, and the ERP system would be the source of truth regarding the inventory. So whether we need to combine the possibility of adding products with all the inventory, or it's good to have like we already have it now when we have a product import export and the stock sources import export.
Yeah, so I think that we need to have both as it is spec'd out in the story. The use case you described is accurate. So you could have a customer that had a PIM and also had an ERP, so they want to do it in 2 different ways, but maybe you could have a customer that was not as sophisticated, so they didn't have a PIM. They may want to handle everything through the products import. As it's described in the story that you imported from Magento, that can be accomplished in the products import. I think they may be frustrated if we don't do that, then they would have to do 2 imports every time they want to do an import. So they have to import products and then they have to go and import stock. And for a smaller merchant or a merchant that has all that information in one place, they're going to want to do that in a single file. And unless we make it available in products, they can't do it in one action.
Okay, so We would not. Okay, so we would not extend the current product import export, and we will leave the only quantity we have now, and we will because we can drop that functionality, so we will stay with the quantity in the product import export. But what we will do, we will just update the default source to be compatible with all the existing, for example, importing and exporting format. Is it okay?
Well, the way it's described in the story, if you can go back to the previous screen. So the logic is more advanced than that. It depends on what they send in there. So they have the ability to update the default stock. If they don't provide any information on the stock, it will update default automatically, or they can update the other sources if they want to.
So you're saying that it's the value or the business value of the story is still actual and we need to implement it.
Yes.
And nevertheless, we already have the similar functionality which is achievable with another kind of the import-export.
Yes, but they're actually solving two different use cases. So the first use case is I want to do a synchronization of my product data, including inventory, in one file. That's accomplished with the product import. The second use case is I want to, on a more frequent basis, just synchronize the inventory counts and across different sources. In that case, I would use the newer import that allows me to do just the sources.
So
it's not two different ways to do the same thing. It's actually they're trying to do two things that are similar, but they're actually a little bit different in the use case.
But if there were, for example, if there was no possibility to specify inventory data in a product import-export at all, so they would need to make like two imports sequentially. Firstly, they need to import the product data, and after that, they need to import the stock data. Whether it's not the same if we provide the possibility to make an import of the product data with the source data.
Yes, as you describe it, their only option would be to do two separate imports. And I think import-export is already a source of frustration for the user experience, so I'd be hesitant to make a merchant have to do two imports, where now they have to do one.
Okay. So so here we have like looks like here we have a decision. So the business value of this story is still actual, and we need to proceed with its implementation. Okay. Looks like it's clear.
Yeah, and this story was pretty well groomed at the time we went through it internally, so hopefully there's not too many questions.
Yeah, it should not be too many questions. I just wanted to raise the question whether we need it because it could be achieved in a several different steps. So
yeah.
Okay, I don't have other questions. Maybe somebody on the call have questions to Mark or anybody from us.
Sorry, just the last piece on that, I thought of one other thing. If we were to take the approach you described, not having quantity in there, then merchants that have single stock would pay a penalty, because right now they only have to do a single product import. If we take quantity out and put it in sources, then they have to do two imports, even though they're not taking advantage of the multi-source inventory feature. And that's very inconvenient for a merchant that only has single stock.
I agree. So I thought that maybe it makes sense to leave the product import-export the same as now. So currently we have just a quantity field, and we don't have awareness about all the possible sources. So that will perfectly work for the merchants who have a single stock. So they will still use the product import-export with the quantity field and that's all. So we will, in this case, we will update the default source, and for them that will recalculate the default stock. So actually, that will support the case with a single stock usage. And for merchant who are using the multi-source functionality, actually just they need to proceed with the two different importing process.
I understand what you're saying. I think we still keep the same decision though, that we need to have it in the products file as described.
Okay, got it. So looks like we fine now, and if there are any other questions, we can probably finish the meeting. And thank you all for the participation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Igor.